Remember the red light, green light game from the Netflix show Squid Game? Imagine if you can have that game on your live stream where you as the streamer control the doll and your chat controls the players and they try not to get eliminated.
And the goal is to get to the finish line before the timer runs out. Ah! That's tricky, huh? That was very tricky. Okay. We're actually running. 8 seconds left. 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, everyone died.
Hi, I'm Dawit. In this video, I'll show you how to create custom chat control games and overlays for your live streams without writing a single code.
We're going to do this using Beemi, which is a new AI tool that allows you to create chat-controlled games for your Twitch, YouTube, or TikTok Live. We're going to go to the Beemi.app website, and here you can actually start playing some of the existing games, or you can create your own game. I'm going to click on Create Games. So it's going to take me to Beemi Studio. This is where I'm going to be able to create the games. Let me just open an existing project that I have to show you what the game would look like at the end, and we'll actually build it from scratch. Here, you have to the left the gameplay area where you can actually test the game that you've created. I'm going to, for example, set this to 120 seconds, which is 2 minutes, which is the timer for the users to actually run from the start to the finish line. And then you have the doll here, and then you have the racetrack. Right here, you have the chat simulator. You can decide to choose TikTok, YouTube, or Twitch. So I'm just going to leave it on TikTok, and you can actually simulate what happens when people chat, or send a comment in the chat. So let me just start the game here, and I'm going to say sup. So Sun 285 is now in the race field, and whenever she says something, she's actually moving down the race field, and you can actually, let me change it to a different person. Mountain 489 says this is a cool stream, and she's now in the race, and I'm just going to spam a comment here, and you can actually see that she's actually moving down the finish line. And you, as the streamer, I have the control of the doll, right? So I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to click on Open Eyes. So now, whenever someone actually types something in the chat, they're going to be eliminated. So this is what the game looks like, and the timer runs out, and eventually everyone who's not past the finish line will actually get eliminated. So now let's see how we can actually build this game from scratch. Let me go to Beemi Studio. I'm going to select Create a New Game. Here, I'm going to go to Template, and I want to start empty. I want to create a blank canvas. Here, I get to decide which design I want. I choose this. It's pretty. I like it. I'm going to go with it. And this is where you choose interactivity. So what this means is I'm going to, for example, select likes, comments, and gifts, which means my game or widget will keep track of the likes, comments, and gifts, and I can decide what to do or what happens whenever I get a like or a comment or a gift. I can decide whether to show an animation, maybe control a game element, or maybe play a sound, and it's really up to your imagination. You have a lot of other interactivities to choose from. For example, emojis, shares, whenever someone shares your stream, whenever you get a follow, or whenever someone joins the stream, right? For the red light, green light game, I'm just going to keep it to likes and comments, and maybe gifts if I decide later on to add something whenever someone sends a gift to the stream. Then I'm going to select Create Game and wait for it to initialize my empty project. All right, so now we have an empty project, and this is where we're going to actually start. Let me describe the basic components you have here in Beemi Studio. To the left here, you have the gameplay area where you actually see the games that you create, and you can test them and play them. Here you saw the chat simulator, and here you can actually see what happens when people actually type in the chat, when they like, when they share, when they follow, and you can simulate the live streams, the chat simulation here. And to the right, you have the AI prompt area where you can actually type in a prompt and create the type of experiences and games you want to create. Now, the most important part here is the AI selection. So this allows you to select the type of AI you want to work with. There's Bee, Owl, or Squirrel, and they're actually using Claude and different versions of Claude and Grok. I'm going to use Claude Sony 4.5, which is the Owl And the choice you make here really is pretty much determined on, some of the models will have a very heavy usage, but they'll be very smart. And for some tasks, you don't need that big of an AI or that smart of an AI. So you can use something that takes up a little less tokens. But for the demonstration of this video, I'm going to use the owl. I'm going to start by removing everything here. So just to show you how it works, I'll type here, I want to remove the game title and game description. And this is how we're going to actually create the entire game. We're going to be typing commands piece by piece here, and we're going to actually see the effect. All right, so it's removed the title and description elements. Now we have a completely empty thing. So now I'm going to try and build the game piece by piece. The first thing I want to add is I want to add a feature where when a user types in the chat, I want their profile picture to appear. So I'll write, when a user comments in the chat, I want a circle with their profile picture to appear. So something that I want to mention, sometimes when you're actually building this, it will try to actually calculate what you said and try to generate the code for it, but it fails. And when it does that, maybe what you have to do is just give it a slightly different command, maybe make it less complex, or try to say what you want to say in a very limited or smaller way. So something I want to add here, sometimes as it actually generates, things become a bit too complicated for it and it actually fails. If that actually happens, what I recommend you do is try to rewrite what you asked in a different way and see if it can actually do it better this time. Say it's okay, comment to see your profile picture float up, chat bubbles. It seems that it's actually completed the feature. Let's see if it's working. What's up? Okay. All right. It seems to be working somehow. Hello. All right, so we can actually see the circles with the actual bubbles. Now, I don't like the titles that I actually put, so I'm going to ask it to remove them. Remove the chat bubbles, title, and description. It doesn't actually add, titles and descriptions every time you ask it, but if it does, you can just remove them. Perfect. Now we have a very basic working setup. Okay, now let me actually add the components of the game. Let me start by adding the doll that's going to be opening her eyes and closing her eyes. I'm going to go to ChatGPT and I'm going to create an image. I'll say generate an image of a cartoon doll girl that looks robotic. I want it to have a Korean drama style and a white background. Actually, I should say a transparent background. All right. Just going to randomly type what comes to my head. Let's see what it actually comes up with. All right. Interesting. Okay. I can work with this. And I can ask, draw the same doll, but with her covering her eyes. Then we can work with whatever version that it actually gives us. Right, there we have it. So we can now use these images. I can also ask it to generate the racing field. I'll ask, draw a green racing field that is vertically longer and has a starting line at the top and a finish line at the bottom, rectangular field that is vertically longer and has a standing line. I want it to be a top-down view of the racing field. It has to be cartoony. All right, let's see what happens here. Okay, I like the one to the left, so I'm just going to download this. Image one is better. So now I have myself 3 image assets that I can actually use. I'm going to download all of them. Okay, now that I have my images, I'm going to add them into my game. So here I have my assets folder. I'll select images and I will upload them. So I have the doll eyes closed, doll eyes open, and the racetrack. So I named them correctly so that I actually don't get confused, and it actually helps the AI as well to find them in the folder. All right, so I have actually put my images, doll eyes open, doll eyes closed, and racetrack. And I'm now ready to actually insert them into my project. So let me actually start by putting the doll. Insert the doll eye opened image on the on the left side of my game. All right, so it's actually added the doll. I want to now add the racetrack to the right. Add the race track image to the right of the game. Yeah. All right, perfect. Maybe I should have made the racetrack image have a transparent background because that makes it a little better. Maybe I'll do that later on. I'll replace it. Now I want to add my button, which I'll use to control the doll to open and close her eyes. So I'll say below the doll image, add a button that switches between open eyes and close eyes. Just make them capital. Great. So now we have our button. Let's actually configure it to work so that it changes the doll to the different image. When I click on the button, replace the image of the doll with the doll eye closed image. This way, and then when I click it and when I click it again, switch it back to doll eye open image. So it kind of understands what I'm saying, even if I don't specifically type the actual name of the file that I put in the asset. All right, let's see if it's actually working. All right, whenever I click on the button, it actually changes the image. Perfect. Now we can move this around. I can ask the AI, move the button a bit lower. You can ask it to move things here and there. For example, I want to ask it to make the racetrack a bit larger. I want to move the button a bit to the right. Make the racetrack larger and cover most part of the right screen area. All right, now it's a bit too large. Make it a bit smaller. It's too large now. And this is how you would actually just like keep editing the layout to make it look like what you want it to actually look like. All right, I think this is fine. Center the button to the doll image, just a little bit of polishing to make it nicer. And if you feel like you messed something up, now for example, it actually messed this up, right? I wanted it to be centered to the doll image, not centered to the actual game. So you can actually go to this button that says history, which I think it's covered by my face. So there's this thing that says history. You can actually click here. Let me bring this back here, and you can look at the things that you've actually generated, and you can go back to a previous version. So I'm going to actually go back one step, and I'm going to restore the version of the game that I had before I asked it to center this. Perfect. It's now back. You know what? I'll leave the button there, you can do whatever you want with it, right? So now we have our chat working as well. If I type in hi, people are actually coming. So I want to make that a bit better. I'm going to ask it to make the circles actually appear on the race track. When a user comments, the circle appears at the bottom and floats up. Instead, I want the circles to appear at the top of the race track and stay there. Sometimes when the instructions are a bit long, it struggles and it might actually come up with an error. You just have to figure out how to tell it in a more condensed way. I knew it. I knew this would happen. So let me actually try again. When users type a comment in the chat, I want their profile pictures to appear at the top of the race track image. Let's see if we can actually do that. Okay, all right. Let's actually say hello. Okay, perfect. It's working. Now, and then they disappear, right? After the chat bubbles, because that's what it's calling them, appear, I don't want them to disappear. I want them to stay. Forgive my spelling. Okay. See, hi. Okay, now she's appeared. Another person says sup. They have appeared. Okay, I like this. Make the bubbles. You can also reset it, by the way. There's a reset button right here. You can reset it to start from scratch. Make the bubbles smaller. You can also give it like specific instructions. Like I could have said, make the bubbles 50% smaller or 25% smaller. Like you can actually give it specific instructions. Okay, I like this. Sub. Okay. Now what I want to remove is I don't want the same user to appear again. If a bubble of a user is already on the screen, I don't want a second bubble to appear, right? Let's see. Hello. Hi. Perfect. It's working. Let's actually add another user. What? Perfect. It's actually working. Now, whenever a user keeps commenting, I want their bubble to keep moving downwards by a certain fixed distance. All right. Let's see if it works. Hi, sup. Perfect. It's working. Reduce. It's working, but it's actually moving a little bit too fast for me. So I'm going to ask it to reduce the constant distance by like I would reduce it by 90% because I want them to move very little steps whenever they actually type. And you can actually set it to whatever you want it to be. Okay, now let's see. Sup, hello. It's a little slow. Okay, make it twice the distance that it is now, right? And you can actually keep doing this by instead of telling it a bit larger and a bit smaller, you can tell it twice as much, 3 times as much, and it can actually do that exact thing. Okay, let's see. Hi, sup. Yeah, I like this space. Pace is good. This is working. I love it. This is actually perfect. Great. Now, let me actually implement the elimination of users, right? So now every time a user comments, they actually move down. But if if my eyes are open, I want them to be eliminated. So the first thing I need to do is when the game starts, I want the doll to start with her eyes closed. When the game starts, the doll should have her eyes closed and the button should say open eyes. Start from there. All right. Whenever the doll's eyes are open, if a user comments, I want them to be eliminated and their bubble should disappear. The game actually figured out that we're doing a red light, green light. Okay, added elimination when Doll's eyes are open. So let's test this. Let's test it. Hello, hi, hi, sup, and then open eyes. The button is actually not working. So the feature that we added is working, but the name of the doll and the button's title, it's not synced. So let me actually fix that. Whenever the doll eyes are open, the button should say close eyes. And whenever the doll eyes are closed, the button should say open eyes. Make sure these states are synced correctly, because that's the problem that I see. Okay, let's see. Hello, sup, open eyes now. It's actually correctly synced. Hi, she gets eliminated. And she keeps writing, nothing actually happens. Close eyes, and she actually comes. All right, perfect. This is working perfectly. Now, what I want to do is I want to add a bit of dramatic, like animation kind of a thing when they're actually eliminated. So when a user, a viewer, is eliminated, and they're before their bubble disappears, I want a red X, or I guess a cross, to appear exactly on their location, on top of their image. Yeah. Ooh, actually, instead of a cross, I think this emoji itself might be better, because it looks like they're being shot. Let it finish, and then we'll be able to change it. It struggled to create this. Let me just paste this. When a viewer is eliminated, put this emoji, or show this emoji. Show this emoji next to their bubble before they disappear. Let's see if this works. Oh, yes, adding a dramatic explosion emoji when someone gets eliminated. This is going to look right. So let's see. Hello. Hi. She keeps going back, and then sup. Ooh, that's nice. I like it. Perfect. This is actually good. Now we've actually implemented eliminating users. One thing I want to do is I want to add a sound. So I'm going to go to freesound.org and try to actually find a gun elimination. And you can actually find the voice, the audio file wherever you want to find it. Freesound.org is where I actually find most sound effects that are easy to access and free to use. But choose wherever, find it wherever you want. You can even record the audio yourself, and you can actually input it. So I'm going to go in and get myself an audio of a gunshot, and I'm going to show you how to import it. All right, give me a second. All right, so I went ahead and found a rifle sound, and I'm going to actually just import it into my assets. I'm going to go to Assets, Audio, Upload, and this is the rifle sound that I actually found. I'm going to actually import it into my game. When a user is eliminated, play the rifle sound before they disappear. All right, that's done. Let's actually test it. And I'm going to actually have to take my headphones off to test this so that you can actually listen to it. All right. Okay, now that we have our gunshot sound working and we've configured it and the elimination works, the one thing remaining is the timer. So I want to add a timer so that if the timer runs out, everyone that's above the finish line gets eliminated. So I'm going to start by adding a timer. add a timer on top of the doll that counts from 2 minutes, right? 2 minutes down to 0, 0, 0, 0 seconds. Let me just add the timer and then we'll make it work later. And something that you'd notice me doing in this video is that I give the AI instructions piece by piece as opposed to giving it a whole chunk of work asking, hey, when the timer runs out, I also want this to happen and also that to happen. Because the less the complex the instructions are, I've found, the better. And I'm sure over time this will improve and you'll be able to actually give it a lot of instructions at once and it will actually be able to do all of them at once. But at the moment, this is the capacity that it actually has. All right, so let's actually make this timer go up a bit. Put the timer, place the timer a bit above the doll and center it to the doll. Is it horizontally or vertically? Horizontally. Let's see that, and then if it doesn't work, we'll ask it to center it vertically. But I think it's horizontally. Oh, it keeps putting it at the center. Place the button directly above the doll and align it to the center of the doll image. Actually pose the button and the doll. Okay. Pose the button, the open eyes button, and the timer are centered in the game. I want them to be to the left and aligned to the center of the doll image. The doll, yeah, let me not write too much. Okay, all right. I can work with this, or I can try a little bit harder. I can tell place the doll slightly to the right, push the doll slightly, push the doll image container slightly to the right. And I can ask it to just like keep pushing the others slightly to the left because this whole centering thing is not working. I hope it doesn't actually push the buttons to the right as well. Perfect, it didn't. All right, you know what? I can work with this. This is fine for now. And then let's actually polish it up. Let's finish the implementation of the timer itself. When the timer runs out, every viewer bubble that is still in the race field should be eliminated. Let's start with that, and then we'll add the functionality that, the ones that are actually past the finish line will not be eliminated. And this is the same pattern where I'm giving the AI instructions slowly, piece by piece. I was not able to do that. When the timer runs out, every user should be eliminated. How about that? It's very simple. All right. It seems to have worked. Let's set the timer to 15 seconds. This is so that I can actually test it faster. All right. So, hi, hello. Let's also add another player, sup. Let's also add someone else. Hee. Oh, it's just the same person. All right. It didn't eliminate them. Let's try again. It didn't eliminate all users when the timer ran out. Count name attribute to bubbles for proper elimination. All right, let's say hi. All right, it's working now. Perfect. Let's reset and let's just try it again. Hello. Now let's do another user and a third user. They're going, and let's see. Perfect, everybody gets eliminated. And we now have a timer feature. This is perfect. All right, I'm back. Let's complete the implementation. Now, the one thing that's missing is that users still get eliminated if they reach the finish line. And I want to actually make it so that users or the bubbles that end up reaching the finish line don't actually die, right? So one way we can actually just ask the AI, one thing we can ask it to do is if a user bubble reaches near the end of the racetrack image, when the timer runs out, they should not be eliminated. Okay. Added finish line detection. Bubbles near bottom are safe. Now let's actually see if we can increase the timer to 20 seconds. This is just so that I can actually reach the bottom by typing comments and test it. Okay. Restart, and there we go. Let's see. I'm going to just keep pushing this guy till he reaches the end. Maybe let's just see. And another person. I'm just gonna put them there. Just see. Okay. So this is good. It's working. The person at the bottom did not get eliminated. The person at the start line actually got eliminated. So this actually is working. This is good. Now, one thing we should finally add as a last piece is a restart button or a start game button. So when the game starts, I don't want the timer to actually start counting because I want to give the streamer some time to explain the rules, to get ready, and then they can click on a start button or a start game button, which starts the game. So add a start game button at the top center of the screen. The game shouldn't start until this button is pressed. There you go. All right, we have a start game button. Let's reset, and then when I click on start, the game actually starts. Perfect. So it's actually working. Let's see if it actually, we can actually keep testing it. Add another person. Let's make sure this person is finished. I also want to see what happens if the person is around here. Okay. This is good. They're past the finish line. They didn't die. And the person in the field was eliminated. Now, one thing I want to do is when the game ends, I want the start game button to appear again. So this sort of becomes a restart button in a way. All right. Let's see. Start the game. This guy keeps running down. Let's actually put him somewhere around here. I can also check where the finish line truly is. Okay. All right. Now I also know where the finish line is. I need to ask the AI to make it a bit higher, and the start game button is working. All right, this is very good. Finally, I actually just want to finalize this by fixing the finish line. Let's make the finish line a bit further up. Yeah, the racetrack line of the racetrack a bit further up. So the thing is, it's not going to change the image. It's just going to set a higher limit for when the finish line is being detected. I could actually ask the AI to draw a line of where it sets the finish line to be. And up, so the bubbles need to reach a higher point to be safe. Let me adjust that threshold. Okay. No finish line to 65 or top 65% of the screen. Can you draw a yellow line at that point in the on top of the the racetrack image. This way we can actually tell where the finish line is according to the code, and we'll be able to see if that's where we want it to be. Okay, all right, so that's the yellow line. It's not bad. It's very close to the finish line. Move the finish line slightly lower in the image. Okay, let's see. All right, this is good. I like this. So I want them to actually cross the letters, that the word that says finish, and this is actually good. I can now just remove the yellow line that's on top of the image, the racetrack image. Now that I know where the finish line is, I don't need the actual display. I'm happy with this. Perfect. So now the game mechanics are working. The design still needs a bit of polishing. The buttons need to be moved around, but I'm really glad that the mechanics of the game have started to work. Set the timer to be 2 minutes, and we can actually test the actual game, and we can actually publish it. Now, from this point on, there's a couple of things I could add. For example, I can add a couple of buttons that preset the timer so that you can actually start before you start the game. You can select whether a 2-minute game, a 5-minute game, a 10-minute game, whatever you want to do, maybe a 60-second game. But I'm going to actually allow you to do that. Let's actually see what you can actually come up with, and then I will be happy to see that. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to publish this game, and I'm going to make it available on Beemi so I can stream it, which is really the most important part. So after we're done building our game and we've tested how it works, we've seen the interaction, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to publish the game here. So we could give it a title, a cover image, and all of those things. So we can click on edit details. We can fill this out ourselves, but we can also just click generate here. It looks at the code and tries to figure out what the game is. I want to call the game red light, green light. No, green light, red light. Is that what it's called? Red light. All right. And goals. I'm just going to make the description classic green light, red light game where the chat moves through a racetrack without when the doll is not looking. All right. Oh, I think there's a character limit I have. Okay. Let's just, this is enough for now. I can save it. Now it asks you to show screenshots, which is going to be important to publish for review. Let me actually see if I can just publish, submit for review without the screenshots. Yeah. So I need 2 screenshots to be able to do it. And I can actually take screenshots here. You see this button right here? It takes a screenshot of the screen, and it allows me to just put that in the details. I think it's, yep, one screenshot has been taken. Maybe I can do one for when the game is running. And let me just add a couple of people here. I'm just going to take a screenshot here. Oh, okay, sometimes it's going to fail to take a screenshot. I'll just keep trying until it works. Maybe I'll reset it. All right. I think I have 2 screenshots now. Let's see. Let me edit the details. I'm going to select the 2 screenshots that I took. They're the same, but I'm okay with that for now. Save, and I can actually submit for review now. Perfect. It's actually submitted for review. And on top here, you can actually see, let me actually, oh, wow. I think my face was covering the publish button, but the publish button was right here. And this is actually showing me the progress of my review process. It might take a few minutes, but it will eventually just publish the game. You can look at it. So I'll let you know once this game has been accepted and published. It shouldn't take a while, but I'll just be back. All right. So my game is now published. You can actually see there is a green check right here, and that's what tells me that the game is published. I can now go to Beemi Studio here, and I can go to games here, and I can actually see my list of published games. Sometimes the game will actually go down here and not published. You just need to select options on the game and just click on publish game. But fortunately, my game here was published directly. So now I have to go to Beemi app, and I can click on start playing. And it takes me to all the games that are actually available on Beemi. And these are all games that you can actually play in your live stream. They're all interactive games built by users. And this is my game right here. So I'll just click on it. Just click here. So this is the game. I have my screenshot. It says Green Lights, Red Light by Dawit. I can play this. If you have Streamlabs or OBS, or any other streaming tool, you can actually just use that to play the game. I'll do a separate video to show you how you can actually stream this game. So it's pretty straightforward. If you've actually streamed any games before, it should come very easily to you. But yeah, this is how you find it. So yeah, we've gone through building a game and making it available on Beemi and using the AI to implement the interactivity that we wanted. I hope that was very helpful, and I hope you go ahead and recreate this game and create a lot of other experiences, live experiences. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this video.